Hello and welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie from Deliberately Creative, and I'm here to welcome you to episode number 11 of my Doodle Gem series. This time we're doing Ammolite, and it's made from ammonite shells. It is an opal-like stone that is made on the fossilized shells of the ammonite, which was an animal that lived millions of years ago. They're mostly found on the eastern side of the Rockies and more towards Alberta, Canada, for the area that you would find it. It is a beautiful stone. It's a lot of fun to do. You get to play with all of your rainbow colors, and the rainbow colors that I'm using are actually Crayola. So this time we are using Crayolas, and show you here, all of this color was done with Crayola pencils. Now this is just my sample. The one we're doing today is not going to look exactly like this. That's okay. Just relax. It's okay. Your stone does not have to look like my stone. And if you go online and you look up Ammolite, Ammolite, you will find a bazillion images of all sorts of different ammolites. No two are exactly alike. Some are fractured, some are smooth and really shiny and continuous. Some don't have any of these little fracture lines in them. Some are just smooth. I like it with the fracture lines in it. I like the texture that it gives it and the way it makes it look like there's depth. We're going to get started here, and we're going to do the stone. And I have to think about what I'm going to do. My colors I think I'm going to be putting on a little bit differently. But it's going to be roughly an oval. They don't have to be ovals. They can be cut. Ammolite stones can be cut into any shapes. Now, I happen to like ovals just because it's easy for me to put my doodles around it. We're doing the stone first. We'll do the doodle later, and it's all going to be real time. Go grab your colored pencils, grab some smooth paper. I like the smooth paper more than the textured paper. Smooth paper allows the color to sort of slip a little bit, and it helps especially the Crayolas, to blend a little bit easier. Here we go. We're going to start off with putting a couple stripes of yellow in here. And we're just going to jump right in. I am not coloring hard. As you've seen me do in the past, I don't color hard. I make lots of layers. So this one is going to start out with some yellow. And I think there's a few more spots of yellow, kind of this direction, and a little bit this direction. That looks like a grumpy face, almost like a jack-o'-lantern right now. That's kind of funny. Hadn't noticed that I was doing that. We're going to sort of extend that down. And I might even put a few spots of it back here, just because this is the end where the blue is going to go. The green is going to go right in here. Orange is going to be going right here. And then there's probably, on this particular stone that I'm looking at, there's some yellow and some green down at this end. Yellow seems to be an underlying tone to a lot of the spots in the colors here. The yellow that's over on this side, the yellow on this end of the stone over here is going to turn more green, but it's going to be a light and a bright green. I will grab my orange. Now, all of these colors will be listed in the information down below, where all of the fun detail things get put. If you look at that information down below my video where it says more, just click on that and you will have more information than you probably wanted. I want to make sure that you have everything. You're not lacking for information. Because there's nothing worse than sitting down late at night. There's nobody to ask a question of. If you run against, oh my gosh, what was the name of that color? Or did she say what the name of that paper was? No, I'm just laying it down and I'm actually giving it, every once in a while I'm pressing a little harder and I'm giving it a little more darkness in that color. So right now I'm pressing just a little bit harder in the orange. There's going to be a little bit of orange back in here. And I'm just laying it in. This is a lot of fun. It would be something that you could actually do Easter egg drawings this way too. And I know right now this really doesn't look like much. But remember, we work in layers. We work in layers. Now I'm grabbing my mahogany color, which is sort of a reddish tone, just to deepen up some of these areas of the orange. And I'm doing it lightly. I'm doing it lightly. And I'm sort of moving it around. And I'm thinking, let's see, let's find probably an area along this orange edge, and maybe along this orange edge. It's going to be darker. And since it's in that orangey range and that reddish range, the mahogany, which is a deep reddish with a slight purple tone to it, but it's really, it's my red that I'm using in this particular stone. You could use red. You could use a regular red. You could really go rainbow color on this, and that's okay too. That's actually really pretty. Really, really pretty to do. And I would have used a regular red, but I started this video and this was the red that I had grabbed. So, sometimes you just have to make it work out for you. You just make it work out for you. Now I like this particular mahogany color because if it doesn't have orange under it, it has almost a bluish cast. So I'm going to pull it back here just a little bit, working around the edges, even into some of that yellow. I'm going to rotate this and do a little bit on this other edge and into that yellow. I am going to lay down all of my first layer of color before I put the fissures, the lines that are sort of defining between things, how do I want to put it? Before I put all the cracks in the stone, I'm just putting a base coat of color. Just a base coat. I'm sort of mapping. I guess if you were doing it as an acrylic painting, this would be the underpainting. This is giving you that tone, the values underneath, the colors that will sort of poke through. And it works really well to find a picture that you like the look of online. So like I said, go to Google, or go on Pinterest. I have several ammolites on my Pinterest board, my rocks and gems and stones board. So there's a link to my Pinterest down below. So you can go to my Pinterest and you can check it out. And, you know, I just sort of scribbled outside here. No big deal. We're going to be putting a doodle around this. I'm deepening up some of these tones now, just a little bit. Just a little bit. And I want to put maybe my lightest blue first. That way I can deepen things up around it. And if you look, when I touch this light blue over, let's see, we're going to zoom in a little bit. We're going to zoom in. There we go. So where I touch this yellow, where I touch these spots of yellow with this blue, it turns a nice bright green. It turns a nice bright green. So we're just going to zap this in really quick. Just really quick, lay in the color. And I don't want to go over all of my yellow. I want to leave a couple little spots of this yellow. But I don't mind going over some of it. And we're just going to keep smoothing it out, smoothing it in. You're not coloring hard yet. You're just laying this color down. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to worry about directionality at this point. Nice thing about these particular stones, there are no directions. The direction changes from section to section. I'm going to lay in just a little bit of this darker blue. Just a little bit, not a lot. And just sort of blend it into merge these edges just a little bit. And my pencil is, the pencil tip is trying to break out. My Crayolas don't usually do that. They don't usually have the lead come out. Oh, okay, so you see the bandage. Don't worry. This weekend I went camping and I had a little mishap with a crock pot and some steam and I burned my thumb. But it's healing up really well. I just wanted to keep it covered while I'm working on things here. With your colored pencils, try not to drop them on the floor. Any kind, even the kids' pencils. Try not to drop them on the floor. It breaks the lead core that's on the inside. And that can be a bit of a problem. All right, so what I'm going to do, I am going to start laying in my cracks and fissures. And I made some specifically, purposefully, I made these colors sort of patchy so that I'd have some places for the colors to pool and break. It's almost like, let's see. Oh, almost like dragon eggs. And they're cracking. Almost like cracking dragon eggs. At least what I would think that a cracking dragon egg looks like. And let's see, I want some lines there. And then I think I'm going to do just some hash marks here. I'm using my dark brown. Dark brown. And let's see. The cracks are very random. They're very, very random. So you can have some that are coming, several that are coming off of one spot and working across, and then coming across again, and you can't have too many cracks, and you can't have too few cracks. That's the cool thing here. It is so random. It is so random. And right now, this really looks like a hot mess. It looks like a hot mess. And I think I am going to stop putting in so many of these little cracks and start shading some of them. You want some of these cracks to be deeper and some to be more superficial. These sort of hash mark ones over here on this edge are actually going to be very superficial. But some of these others are deeper fissures. I'm trying not to put too many new lines in. I'm just trying to put some depth into some of these lines. These pieces end up being like little plates that sort of separate from each other just a little bit. I'm not sure what it is, but there's a clear shininess over them. So it all stays together. You don't feel the texture, at least on the one. I don't see the texture in the surface. I see the texture underneath of something that looks kind of like a glassy surface. That's just how my eye is perceiving this. I could be totally wrong. So this ammolite has not been a gem that's been known for years and years and years. It is one that has just recently really been come on the scene. It's only been recognized by the gemologists as an actual gemstone since like 1981. So not that long, just, 35 years. Just 35 years. That's not a long time. Now I'm taking this sort of the aqua green and laying it into a few spots. The neat thing I love about this is how the color shifts from one to another. And you can, by using the fissures and the lines, you can start using it almost like lines on a coloring book. All right, so I love how it shifts in the different sections. You can use it just like a coloring book. You've given yourself little areas. It's neat to be able to, lay a little bit of green in right along that yellow. Lay a little bit of blue in along the green. Lay a little extra red or something in along, and that pencil lead is breaking. And again, we're still in this sort of mess. And this is not a fast stone to do. This, I will tell you, this is not a fast one. If you want to do it and have it look real, you're going to be there for a little while playing with this. Now I'm going in and I am starting to press harder. And I'm starting to deepen some of this yellow right now. If you go online and you look up those stones, those ammolites, you'll see how they have flashes. They have fire. They have flashes and they have fire. And it's so fun. Now I am coloring right over the top of my fissure lines in some spots. And I'm taking this yellow right over my orange because I want to brighten it. I want to give another layer of color. I'm going right over my lines, right over my orange, right over the mahogany color. Okay, I'm starting to fill in that tooth on this paper. And that's good. I'm going to run this back just a smidge. I don't want to end up turning it and running it off the page. Let's see here. Take a different, darker green maybe. Give it a little bit darker green. This is where I had the blue and that yellow. Throw a little darker green in. And I get so focused that I lose the ability to speak. Surprising, I know. You keep hearing me talk over and over again. So last time I had said something about, wanting to know if you guys wanted me to, speed up a little bit, do a little bit faster on these videos. And don't worry, I'm not going to speed up the videos. Boy, I had people that were like, no, don't speed it up. Don't make it go faster. So I won't do that. I will continue. I want to throw a little bit of this blue over here. It's going to make it a different green. And it's going to give me a little bit of a shadow on that side. I will not speed the videos up, although I hope that someday I might do these be able to draw a little bit faster or color a little bit faster. I want everybody to be able to be successful to do these gems. And now, usually you wouldn't put blue over the top of orange, but I'm using the blue to sort of deepen some of these shadowy spots, these deeper bits in here, make it a little bit more dimension. Give it a little more dimension. I'm going to make that a little bit wider. Nice thing about it, this is just paper. If you end up not liking what your stone looks like, try finishing it. Try getting it to a point where you go, okay, yeah, it's done, and yeah, I still don't like it. That's okay. You cannot like it. These are not your children. You kind of have to like your kids. You kind of have to like your kids. You don't have to like them all the time. Please love your children all the time, but you don't have to like them. sometimes kids can be a little bit frustrating. And it's okay to say, you know what? I love you very much, but what you're doing right now, I don't like. You can say that to anybody, you know? Say that to anyone. You can say, I love you, but what you're doing right now is not making me happy or making it so that you're going to be on my good list right now. And it's okay to say that. It is so okay to say that. And then remember to come back and give them a hug. Or call your friend up and say, okay, what you did really, really bothered me. And if they say, yeah, I understand, or your kid goes, oh, I'm sorry, I love you, then, you know, it's not worth the energy to be mad forever. It is not worth the energy to be mad forever. Oh my goodness, that is looking like a landscape almost. And that's something that I've seen. Some of these ammolites look almost like landscapes. And you could do amazing things with them. Now I'm just picking up not random. They're all rainbow colors. They're all rainbow colors. They're all rainbows. And I just realized that I forgot to put my white out here. So I am going to pause and come back and put white out, because the white Prismacolor sort of gives that glossiness to some of these spots. And I want to blend a few of these places together, following the line. Following the lines. Just give it a little bit of blending in a few spots. I don't want to blend over my bright yellow with the white, but I do kind of want to go over some of these lines. Some of the lines are starting to blend out anyway. Maybe a little bit of the white over the green. Just a bit. Not a lot. See, I want to start getting the colors to start moving a bit, but I don't want to muddy them out so much. I'm a little bit not happy with that right there. I'm just taking my fingernail and sort of scraping over it. And it's amazing what that does. Sorry if that noise is bothersome to you. I'm not trying to be bothersome. I think that's enough of that, though. I think I'll grab my bright blue and use the lighter tones of these colors to blend over. That's what I'll do. Use the lighter tones. And that's a trick. That is a trick. Use the lighter tones as your blenders. There we go. There we go. Getting some of this color to blend. Getting some of it to mix. And my pencil decided to lose the lead again. I'm really liking how this is starting to look, though. And I think I'm just about ready to start putting my darkest colors on. My darkest colors. Just getting ready to do that, I think. Take a look here. Maybe I'll give it a quick pass with yellow again. Ooh, that's making that brighten up a little bit. And don't worry about it if you go outside, because remember, we are putting a doodle around this. Deepen, 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 deepen. But I'm just taking the yellow right over pretty much everything that's orange or green. Pretty much over anything that's orange or green. As my blender. Oh, look at that. We're getting deeper. We're getting deeper. All right, now we're going to take the navy blue. And is this one? Nope, this one isn't broken. Okay, good. Phew. I was afraid that this one was a broken lead too. So we're darkening up around this edge. And around this edge here. It has kind of a darkened edge around it. Just around like this. And we will, even though I don't like to use black very often, there's going to be a couple touches of black on here. Just for accent. Just for accent. I'm not a big fan of using black on my doodles, except for my black ink. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to slide off there again. But I do want to take, and it's going to have just a tiny little bit of black around there. And it's going to have a bit of black around here. A little touch of it around at this end. And a little touch of it over the top. Now this is one of those stones where it all comes together right at the end here. All comes together right at the end. I'm going to go in and just sort of accentuate a few of these little lines, these little fissure lines, and do a couple lines where they sort of look like they're hash marks almost. They're little cracks, little surface cracks in the little surface cracks. And again, don't worry about the little smudgies. Those things will work out. Take a bit of my yellow and knock some of those lines back. Somebody had asked, well, how do you make it look like those lines are deeper? And did you see what happened there when I colored over it? How they got wavy. They got wavy. They shifted. The colors blended. They move. It's very, very cool the way it does that, because we are now so many layers deep. We are so many layers deep on here that any color that you put on top of it is going to shimmy if you color over it. It's going to shimmy. Do the shimmy shake. I will not sing. I will not sing. I have to tell myself I will not sing. I'm one of those people that if you are with me in real life, and you give me a song cue, you say something. Almost anything somebody says is a song cue. Something from a musical, something from the radio. It doesn't matter. It is just one of those things. One of those magical things. So now I'm just laying in some color here to deepen up around some of these edges where the color would be shifting, where you would get some of that opalescence, that fire. Look at that, how that fire is happening in there now. Isn't that pretty? And like I said, these stones come together all in the last few strokes. Just like a painting, just like an acrylic painting, where you do your underpainting, then you start laying in your layers, and all of a sudden, the last few minutes, boom, it's all there. Boom, it's all there. Oh, wow. Okay, this really is looking like a landscape, except for the green clouds. It's looking like a landscape, except for green clouds. All right. I think I am going to go in with my navy blue again. Just making sure that all of my equipment is still working. I'm hoping that the sound is really good this time and that I'm not ending up with static. That happened last time, and I ended up having to use my backup sound. And the backup sound was not as satisfactory to my ears as the primary sound should have been. So we're hoping, here's hoping that it will all work out and that we will have beautiful sound. And another broken pencil. Another broken pencil. Goodness gracious, you're loose in there too. Oh well. Let's see if we can make it work. See if we can make it work. And I'm bringing some of these colors other places. Oh please, pencil, just stay in. Bringing these colors other places to give that spark. Okay, fine. I'm not going to use that color. I'll use a different color. And that's what we do. That's what we do. If something isn't working, don't let it frustrate you. Don't let it frustrate you. If it's not working, you have other tools. You have other colors. Just grab a different color and see if you can make it work someplace. See if you can make it work someplace. All right. Ooh, the color is so rich. And you wouldn't expect that coming from Crayolas. You know, that is really very, very effective. I'm so pleased with that. Let's see here. But what can I do? Yeah, I am going to take some of the white. I'm just going to run a little bit of white in here. In just a few spots again. Just sort of drag the color around just a smidge. Not a lot. I don't really want to drag too much around, but I'd like to get some of that sort of softening. Oops, sorry. Some of that softening right here, where it looks like it's sort of translucent and the color has sort of, or the stone has sort of gone glassy. Some of that effect will be even more effective once we put the gel pen on. Now, I'm using my Signo Uniball white gel pen. This is the UM153. I've had some people say, oh my gosh, you know, I've got that same pencil, that same pen, and it's always blobby, or it gets globbed up and it doesn't write. I always test it out on another piece of paper before I take it to my stone. And I use a light hand. I barely touch it to the paper and then I float it across. I float it across. So now this one had kind of this highlighty thing going sort of across it this way. It's just the way the light went. And by floating it across, just barely touching and dragging it along, I get a more continuous line. And I'm not so happy with how dark that is, how hard that highlight is. So I'm just taking my finger and sort of blotting it off while it's still wet. So I'm not real happy with how that particular, and then you just clean it off. Let's see. Maybe I'll just bring my highlight along there and maybe just put, nope, again, I'm not real happy with that. There. Ah, there we go. There we go. All right, so we are now at the point, I'm going to move all of these pencils out of the way. We are now at the point where the doodle happens. Ooh, and doodle is going to happen here. Let's see. I'm going to move that out of the way. And I don't have any specific plan here. Let's see. Well, I'm going to start out the way I always start out. And I am going to zoom out just a bit so you get more of the paper. Wow. Okay. Can I say I'm really tickled with that? I am tickled. I am going to run my line around here, and it is just ever so slightly outside of the edge of the stone. And then here I'm going to just let it run through that black and up around the edge here. And look at that. Doing it that way, leaving that little white edge, it actually accentuates the effect of it being a rounded, three-dimensional object that has translucence. It has translucence. Light passes through it, bounces around it, but it is not transparent. It is not a total transparent stone. There we go. All right. So let's see. What are we going to do here? I think it's going to be sort of this sort of a triangle petal almost. Now, if you hear panting in the background, that's my dog. He's old and he pants, and he's inside of his kennel, sitting here inside of my studio space where I'm recording. Generally, he's pretty quiet, but right now, every once in a while, I'm hearing him start panting, and hoping that he will be okay for a few more minutes. Now I'm going to put an extra petal in between. I'm calling these petals. It looks kind of like a flower. They may not look like that by the time I'm done. They may end up being something else. I don't know. I'm doodling. And doodling, you let your mind wander. You give it a chance to think and percolate on ideas. And I'm going to put one more right there. Okay, so that's starting out to be kind of interesting. Let's see, what am I going to do with that though? I think I am going to put a little quarter moon, little crescent moon shape around in here. I want to give you different types of patterns. You don't have to copy my patterns. You don't have to do anything in these that you don't like. Let's see. I think that these back petals are actually going to get sort of like almost like sun rays. Almost like sun rays coming from that corner and going out to the center and then out to the edges. It's going to get that natural shading from having those lines close together and then spreading out as they go out towards the edges. And we just keep doing that. Again, you don't have to do any of my patterns if you don't want to. I love doodling. I love all of the different patterns that you can come up with. As I've said before, I really appreciate that there are people out there that are naming the patterns and doing all of that. I'm not one of those people that remembers the names of any of the patterns that I've seen before. And the fact that even though they're giving them names, they didn't actually come up with the pattern and make it to begin with. Most people are looking at things in real life, seeing patterns, and then figuring out a way to explain how to draw that pattern. And that's the thing that they are actually naming. They're naming a pattern based on how their steps are to create that pattern. Because multiple people are coming up with the same patterns all the time. There's only so many ways that you can do a checkerboard. But if you've never seen a checkerboard before and you figure out how to do it your own way, the way you do it is your pattern. And you can give it a name if you want to. I don't tend to give mine names. I just have fun. I think that I'm going to put circles inside of these little half moon or quarter moon shapes. Little circles, and then going down to small circles. So the biggest circle is in the middle, with littler circles and littler circles as we go out to the edges. Sort of like, I don't know, peas, like pea pods. Now something that I just noticed is, and I'm not going to leave it like this, but these look like little hats, and that looks like the nose of a little gnome. And you could have a little gnome. You could put his little hands on here. You could have a little gnome holding on to the gem. But I'm not doing it that way. But it was just funny. And I thought that you might appreciate that also. But these are like little peas in a pod going round and round. And I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. And you noticed I didn't worry about the fact that I had a line there before. I just went right over it. There's going to be sometimes when a line you drew just doesn't make sense. Just draw over it. Just draw over it. Make it work out for you. And I'm going to put like little petals on the inside of that. Inside of these little hats. Because that's what that reminds me of still. It's like lace on a hat. Or a funny hat brim. And I'm just going to quickly do that. Just go balumpling along. Balumpling along. Bumpity bump. There we go. Nice and easy going. You don't have to worry about it. It's an easy, fun thing to do. Okay, so I'm really liking that. I think that these little guys are actually going to end up with little leaf lines. Little leaf lines in them, or little crease lines in them. Okay, so my dog is actually really panting, and so I am going to have to be stopping in a second here. I'm going to just get all the way around here, go take care of him, make sure that he's okay. Gotta make sure your pets are okay, especially when it starts getting really warm for the summertime. Make sure that your pets are being taken care of, that they're coming in out of the heat. All right, I will be right back. All right, so looking at this, I'm thinking that I'm just going to take my black pencil and I'm going to put a little bit of shadowing. Is this black? Yeah, this is black. Just a little bit more shadowing in here on those fan-like petals in the back. Just a little bit of shadow down in there. That's giving it just a little bit of something something. Just a little bit, not being too particular. Just sort of down into the corners and back up. Sort of going lighter out towards the ends. That's all it takes. And I think I'm just going to give it a very light. I'm not pressing hard. Just putting a little bit of a shadow here. Just a little bit, not a lot. Just a smidge here and there. There we go. Just sort of halfway around. Just a little shadow. Okay. So maybe under these white points, I'll make the shadow a little bit deeper. Just under those. Only on halfway up that one. And don't forget this side over here. Just a little bit there. Maybe a little bit on these. Okay, a little bit. Just deepen it up just a bit. And make that, smooth it out just a little bit. There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are done. Took care of my puppy. Well, my dog. He's not a puppy. He's 16 almost. We don't know how much longer we'll have him. You know, so you'll love on them every day. Love on them. Remember, when it starts getting hot, make sure your pets have lots of water, a cool place to lay down, some cuddles when it cools down in the day and they feel like they want to cuddle up with you. I was talking with some friends, and we're all Lord of the Rings fans. And I looked at one of them and I said, you know what? To our dogs, we are the elves. She looked at me and she's like, oh my gosh, you're right. Because to our dogs, they live their lives so fast that they get old and we don't seem to change to them. We don't seem to change as time goes by. And there you are. I hope that you enjoyed this Doodle Gems lesson, this tutorial. I hope that if you did, you are going to click like and make sure that if you aren't a subscriber, click that subscribe button. You'll find out when the next episode of Doodle Gems and any other videos that I happen to be doing comes up. Please share this video with your friends. If you think that they would find value in it, joy from it, share it with them. And as always, really and truly, I hope that you will go out and do something creative today. Take care. Bye-bye. Over here, just give it a nice hit of this dark color. Make this dark color happen. All right. So there you go. There's the gem, the stone, and I'm going to do pretty much a very similar doodle like I did here. I saw